So from 11:59 p.m. on the 20th of June, travellers into New Zealand will no longer require a pre-departure test. We've been announcing a staged reopening of our border since February. During that time, 400,000 people, almost 400,000 people, have returned into New Zealand. We have a high rate of those people undertaking rapid antigen tests when they arrive, and we know they have a very low positivity rate. So this change is a safe change that we're now ready to make and welcome back more travellers to New Zealand. We wanted to make sure that that pathway to having people have a rapid antigen test on arrival and their isolation and management after that was in place, and it is, so we can have confidence moving ahead with this is a safe thing to do.
But that was in place last time?
It has been under continuous improvement since then, and we've seen improvements in that system. Well, because we still have people being tested on arrival into New Zealand, and if they are positive, clearly they isolate, and that contributes to the impact, reducing the impact of those cases in New Zealand.
How big a factor is the fact that tourists can travel to Australia without a pre-departure test, but they can't travel to New Zealand without a pre-departure test?
Yeah, look, what we understand at the moment is that the difficulty, the issue limiting people coming into New Zealand is actually being able to get a seat on the plane. So I'm not sure if it is the test itself, but and the primary reason for making this change is it's a safe change to make.
Do you think that New Zealand's most vulnerable people are being adequately protected against this change?
I think there is a number of measures that they can take. They have excellent access to a vaccine. The use of masks over winter is really important. Most vulnerable people are also getting flu vaccine free of charge. There are a number of measures, and we continue to see people in aged residential care being looked after incredibly closely between those practitioners and DHBs.
Can I just clarify, the reason that the pre-departure test hasn't been scrapped until now is because the government is still tweaking and ensuring that the two rapid antigen tests that travellers had to do once they arrive, they want to make sure that was secure.
So we have a number of things. Firstly, we are taking a staged approach to reopening, and that we have seen a large number of travellers return and know the details of that of that is safe, and that primarily relates to the system around testing them on arrival, and that on arrival system has a good backstops in it. So the isolation system, the system of communication with those people when they test positive, and then the for those who test positive, the numbers that go on to have whole genome sequencing. And that was the system that we recently reviewed.
What's your message to people who might be feeling with us about sending on a plane next to people who might have COVID?
Yeah, well, we can encourage people to continue to use masks, but the other thing to remember is the requirement that you had a test 48 hours prior to departure and the short incubation period of Omicron meant that actually there were a number of people on planes either with COVID or incubating COVID, so I don't believe the risk is materially impacted by this.
And do we have the numbers on how many people were blocked from boarding a plane?
That's been really difficult for us to obtain, and as you can imagine, it's airlines from all around the world that hold that data, and we don't have a system for collating it, but we haven't seen high numbers of empty seats once planes get here.
Does this mark one of the final steps of removing COVID restrictions?
It's a really important step, so that and plus the immigration reopening happening over the next couple of months as well.
And so Cabinet was completely happy to remove this protection?
Yes, indeed, that's the decision that we've taken in conjunction with the other measures that we've made around the testing of people once they arrive.
Is there an appetite to remove mask mandates?
Sorry?
Is there an appetite to remove mask mandates?
At this stage in our outbreak, we think it's really important that people are wearing masks to protect against COVID-19, as well as other respiratory viruses over winter. And I think wearing a mask and getting your flu vaccine is one of the things New Zealanders can do to keep pressure off our hospitals over winter.
So it's safe to say those will stay through winter?
That's what I anticipate.
Do you have any information on the compliance with people arriving to New Zealand and the 2 rapid antigen tests that they've
Yeah, the testing is over 90% now.
And how will you monitor that?
Yeah, so we have a digital system built off our contact tracing system that identifies arrivals, prompts them to have a test. So you'll often get an email when you arrive saying time to do your test. You'll be have the RAT do it and then be able to upload that digitally. So that's the system that gives us assurance we're having a high level of coverage.
Is it problematic that thousands of people across the border and have the rapid antigen tests? We've had about 400,000 people arrive in New Zealand and 2% have completed the rapid antigen.
Yeah, that's a very high level of coverage. And we know that the positivity rate in that group is low. So we don't believe this is making a major contribution to the outbreak that we have in New Zealand now.
Are you considering, or would you consider making any changes to this surveillance testing at the border and how each of in Canada been doing rapid testing at airports to is that something that you're considering?
So at the moment, we have that rapid antigen testing as our primary system for monitoring at the border, and then those who test positive go on for that whole genome sequencing, which is part of our border surveillance of variants. No.
Oh, sorry. So the 48 hours before potentially getting more time.
Yeah, sorry, just ask you to speak up. I had some background noise.
Sorry, the 48 hours before departure, requirement for the test and with Omicron, the incubation period means that people are getting on board despite the testing negative. Does that mean that this predeparture testing has been pointless for some time?
It's certainly not ever been a complete protection because of the incubation period and that time. It's been an extra measure that might have taken some of the risk off. But as we've changed from Delta through to Omicron, it's become even more challenging to use it as a helpful control measure.
As an infectious diseases specialist, are you comfortable with how sort of the public sort of moved on from COVID-19? There's less reporting of it, even though 10 or 11 people are dying a day, sort of focus has been moved on?
Look, I think actually, as someone who has looked after New Zealanders who've been ill in hospital, I want us to be able to get back to normal life. That's what I wanted for all of our patients. So I do want people to have COVID as less of a focus in their life. And I think it's important that we maintain protections around vulnerable people, and that's what the government is doing.
I also wanted to ask, in the reshuffle, did you ask for this portfolio, or it sort of made sense to get handled?
I have been working with Minister Hipkins really closely prior to the reshuffle, so when I was asked, I felt very happy to take it on. I'm very privileged.